Hello everyone, I'm Brendan Marcello, this is Joel A. Erickson. We're going to focus on Auburn's defense, struggling of late, especially through the air. They've allowed 341 passing yards at Ole Miss, 416 against South Carolina. Something just fell behind me. But Auburn's defense struggling, especially at the safety spot, something that Ellis Johnson's brought up here of late.
Yeah, they switched safeties in the last game. Derek Moncrief moved to the boundary. They moved Jonathan Ford over to the field safety. Jonathan or Rudy Ford, whichever one you prefer. We prefer Rudy because that's what all the coaches say. That moved Josh Holsey out of the lineup. Found out that Holsey just really didn't play that well against South Carolina. So they went with the shift. And after doing that, it cleared things up because everybody made mistakes against Ole Miss. They played Ole Miss. I just forgot that. Against Ole Miss on Saturday. Mistakes all around. Jonathan Ford, 2 really bad missed tackles. Yeah. Derek Moncrief out of position. Both Ford and Moncrief out of position on that reverse to start the second half. And when Holsey was in there at safety, he was responsible for one of those passes up the seam. So a lot of issues at safety. You asked today about Jermaine Whitehead, who is not an option.
Yeah, it's you were wondering, is it rust, the reason why he's not playing defense, or is it an extension of his punishment? Turns out it's an extension of his punishment. And Ellis Johnson does not sound like a guy who's going to be playing Jermaine Whitehead anytime soon. And considering that there's only a few games left in the season, I don't know if we're ever going to see him on defense again in an Auburn uniform for Auburn. He switched over to number 35 to play on special teams when Rock Thomas is out there. Looks like that's all going to be what he's going to be doing the rest of the season, is playing special teams. So he must have done something really bad in practice. Really, really bad. And now looks like Jermaine Whitehead is relegated to being a special teamer. And so far there, he hasn't done a great job either because South Carolina kicked the ball at him for that onside kick. Tough position to be in, but first action out there really, and that's what you've been known for so far in the last half of the year.
Beyond that, the larger issue has been they can't seem to quite get things together at the same time. They didn't have a pass rush against South Carolina. And it exposed them in man coverage in the slot.
Yeah.
Pharaoh Cooper versus Robinson Threezy.
Yeah.
They got a pass rush against Ole Miss, but left some running lanes for Bo Wallace. And more importantly, really struggled on the boundary. Jonathan Mincy was targeted a lot by Ole Miss, and some people said that it was just because Treadwell was over there. It wasn't just Treadwell. Vince Sanders made a couple catches over there.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work on that side of the field. Basically, the defense. What's really interesting is that the defense we saw at the beginning of the year, the one that played against Kansas State, that secondary, the one that gave up short passes but made tackles, has somehow started to struggle.
Yeah.
And it's all the same people. It hasn't changed any personnel. That's post Whitehead. They played well for 3 games without him, and now they're having some issues. They've got to get those fixed. Obviously with Texas A&M coming in, but more importantly with Georgia and Alabama coming in.
Yeah, especially those guys. And it just seems teams get out in space and they can't wrap up. Earlier in the year, you'd go, there's Robinson Threese again making a big open field tackle. Not so much anymore. That is a problem. And as we saw with Ole Miss, I thought the big thing there was they were attacking seams. Mm-hmm. We haven't really seen a lot of teams doing that, except for maybe South Carolina a few times, especially with Mike Davis, coming through there. But Ole Miss really did a really good job game planning against Auburn's defense. And you want the defense to get better as the season goes along. And here you are now all of a sudden thinking, okay, is Auburn going to have to win games in shootouts the rest of the way? That's not what you want to do. But the good news for Tigers, their offense is clicking.
We'll see what happens with Texas A&M, even with the freshman at quarterback. You'll be able to see if there's receivers running free and that kind of thing. Yep. So it'll be a good test for a secondary that's struggling, something to watch for, and something we'll be writing about, which is why you should keep clicking on AL.com.